Hey guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I wanted to show you a super cool little mod that I found several years ago. Guys, I did not come up with this mod. Somebody a whole lot more clever and creative and probably a whole lot cooler than me came up with this particular mod. But I saw it several years ago and I just thought it was kind of a cool idea, and I thought it was a good enough idea. I was going to go ahead and pass it along to you. Here's what I'm talking about, guys. In my environment, I tend to carry a full-tang belt knife. I might carry a multi-tool every day also, which I do. But in general, a lot of times I'm carrying a full-tang type belt knife because it's so much more rugged in my environment. If I'm ever going to need this thing to help keep me safe, it'll just be a lot tougher tool. And so I tend to do that. But another reason I like a belt knife in general is because they tend to be, quick into action, and you can open it with one hand. And those are both attributes that I see as attractive. Now, if you live in town, however, you might not be able to carry a full-tang belt knife around where you're at. So you're instead going to probably carry a folding knife of some sort. And I think that's why the spring-assisted knives have kind of come into their own and gotten so much more popular over the last several years. My main gripe against spring-assisted knives are I can find one on the cheap, but in general, if you're looking at apples to oranges, I say apples to oranges. If you're looking at apples to apples, you're not going to get near as much of a knife on the spring-assisted side as you would if you just went with a rugged, heavy-duty folder. Now, they have $10, $15, $20, spring-assisted knives out there. But if we're talking about something you trust your life on, I don't want to trust my life on that thing. So in order to get a good spring-assisted knife, I'm going to have to spend a lot more money to make it, as good a quality as I would that, rugged little folder I'm normally used to. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and show you what we're talking about here, guys. Right now, I got my pocket knife in here. Just happens to be a Cold Steel Voyager. I'll show it to you in a second. I'm in my work jeans. You can't do this very well in, the jeans that the wife likes you to wear when you go out to dinner or whatever, because, you want some space in those pockets. You don't want these things to be real tight. But when I reach into my pocket, as I pull back, there you go. It's open, guys, and I'm going to do it a couple more times so you can kind of see it again. But, I'm just reaching in, bringing it to the back. There you go. And it's technique driven, so you can get quicker at it. It's never going to be as quick as a spring-assisted knife, but this thing is opening quick enough to do most of what you're needing to do, and obviously with practice you can be a little quicker. Guys, here's what I got going on. This is a Cold Steel Voyager. Why? Because I love Cold Steel Voyagers. I don't carry a folding pocket knife a lot, but the Cold Steel Voyagers are some of the toughest, most rugged, everyday carry type knives. If you're going to carry a folding knife, it's just an awesome option, and I couldn't recommend it strongly enough. If you can't afford a Cold Steel Voyager, they also have, I think for 35 bucks or something, you can get into a Cold Steel Thin Wolf, I believe it's called, which is a Scandi version. It's maybe a little lighter materials, and the blade retention isn't going to be as good because it's a Scandi versus, a more traditional grind. But these things are just super rugged, and, for the money, they're really hard to beat. What I did is, it had a thumb screw here that you would use to, go ahead and open this knife out. I took that thumb screw out with my screwdriver, and instead I put a zip tie in there. Now, guys, I'm a slow learner, so, I went through 2 of the 99-cent store ones that I had sitting in my, in my pantry. Don't do that. Get you the heavy-duty ones that you'd use for repairing your automobile, that sort of thing. If you don't have them, get a hold of your mechanic. He'll probably give you a couple of them. But I've had this thing in here for years at this point in time. It's been super rugged. It hasn't failed me. I'm constantly kind of, just kind of tugging on it and messing with it. And, I've carried it for several years like this. I'll get several more years out of it, I think. They have more permanent mods that you can do. Feel free to look those up on YouTube. Same kind of thing, only instead of it being a plastic zip tie, you're talking about fabricating a little piece of metal and putting that on there. That's a lot less likely to ever break. But, I trust this thing. I've been, like I say, I haven't carried it exclusively as a folder because I don't normally carry a folder a lot. But I've had this knife for probably about, I don't know, 10 years or something like that, as you know, I bought it at a knife show, and you know, I had a smaller Cold Steel Voyager, which I was absolutely in love with, and I ended up giving it away as a gift. Well, you know, I wanted another one, and I just happened to be at the knife shop, and they had the I say knife shop, knife show, and they had one of these, and I had to have it. So there you go. But it just dollar for dollar, guys. You can get a lot more value out of a knife like this and do a simple mod like that, as opposed to going the spring assisted route. You know, I have no idea what these are costing nowadays, but you know, in general, spring assisted knives, you're paying good money for them. And you know, like I say, this is not an inexpensive knife, cheap knife, I guess you'd say, by any means, but it's definitely very budget friendly. And if you're talking about going with the smaller Voyager or whatever, you're getting a lot of value for your money, all the way down to, like I say, if you want to go with that little $35 little Finn Wolf knife, you know, it's just as, I don't want to say it's just as good, but it's a very reliable also. And you know, for a knife that you're going to EDC, that you might have to use at some point in time, as this is the knife you have to keep you safe, you really want that good reputation. And I think the, you know, Cold Steel Voyagers and some of their products, I'm not saying I'm a fan of every single knife they put out. I've got some gripes against Cold Steel from time to time on some other product that I just, you know, I don't see as great as the others. But their Voyager series is awesome. You know, their SRKs have been awesome. Their Master Hunters are awesome. Their Trail Masters are awesome. And I'd recommend them to anybody on this planet. You know, they're Bushmans. For the last, you know, I don't know, 20 years or whatever, I've just really been in love with a lot of those products. And like I say, this is one of them. So, as I said, we just went ahead and put a zip tie in there, put it through the hole. You could do the exact same thing. If it has a thumb, a little thumb hole on your knife, you could probably do a similar mod. But at that point in time, you know, depending on how you keep it, I've never liked having that clip hanging on my pants. At least the Cold Steel knives, it seems to be a little bit tighter. So I'll just normally put it all the way down in my pocket. But, you know, if I want to keep it out, yeah, I can keep it, you know, at a place where I can still get my hand on it. But it's the same thing. I'm just pulling to the back here. And then if I just go all the way through, there you go. It's a little bit technique driven, as I said. So I pull it to the back, boom, there you have it. One thing I will say about this, guys, while it is technique driven, it's also something that you really have to watch your own safety on. I've been doing this for quite a few years. I've never had an issue. When I grab that knife, it's like that. There ain't nothing that's gonna, you know, I'm not getting my hand, I'm not adjusting my grip in here until after this thing's completely out, because I don't want that thing folding up on me, you know, with my hand on that. But, you know, assuming you use some, you know, good sense and a little bit of practice and pay attention to what you're doing, I've had good luck in doing it, and, you know, I've saved all my fingers at this point in time. If you're concerned about it, by all means, don't do it. And, you know, not only is it a potential safety factor that you have to decide whether or not it's right for you, but also because it is technique driven and, you know, it's not a perfect system by any means, you know, you have to weigh that out and see if it's something that, you know, you still want to do. But for me, like I say, you know, there's something convenient about being able to, all right, I need a knife, and there you go. Okay, I got a knife. So just something to consider. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe, hit the bell. A lot of times I'll do some videos that kind of come at things from a little different view than some other people might. But I think if you go back and look at some of my kit stuff, if you're into Altoids kits, the survival kits, that sort of thing, you'll probably see that, you know, a lot of what I'm saying and a lot of what I'm doing kind of makes sense. And there's some quality stuff there. So feel free to hit that like button if you just want a little different idea, way of looking at, you know, survival stuff. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I very much appreciate it. If this video wasn't for you and you got absolutely nothing out of it, thank you so much for just hanging out with me. I certainly appreciate the fact that, you know, you're willing to visit with me for, you know, the time that you have. Guys, thank you so much, and thank you for being awesome. I really do appreciate it. Check back with me soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.